Okay, here is my long-awaited review of Kamala Harris's book, 107 Days. I'm going to be reading certain passages from this book, along with going over everyone that she blamed for her loss except her own damn self. All right, let's start. Joe Biden, she blamed him within the first 3 pages of the book. Steve Ricchetti, Matt Donnellan, Anita Dunn, Joe Biden's entire staff. She somehow didn't think she'd have any challenges with 107 days and Joe's endorsement. She loved to use the term joyful warriors peppered throughout this book. It only took her 22 pages for her to basically let everyone know that women get judged for their appearance. Yes, Kamala, but it's not by men. It's by other women. Complained about Trump being a rich kid, joked about his bankruptcy, even though Trump owns over 500 companies, or at least the Trump Group owns over 500 companies. And Trump has never declared personal bankruptcy. Trump has declared business bankruptcy. There is a difference between the two. And yes, it's a smart move to do if your business is dying, or a business you own is dying. She still is lying about working at Walmart. There is virtually no proof of her ever working at Walmart. She whines about Joe not thinking she's loyal. She blamed Karine Jean-Pierre. She basically accused Joe Biden's staff of making her look bad. Joe Biden's entire staff and team also get thrown under the bus, by the way. She blames Netanyahu, the anti-Israel protesters. She talks about Trump like he's Satan. She blames J.D. Vance. She blames various fire marshals throughout the book. They wouldn't let enough people in. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. She blames, of all people, CNN and Dana Bash for making her look old and tired. See a pattern here? Everyone sucks but me. She blames Joe Biden repeatedly. She blames, of all people, Andrew Tate and Myron Gaines. But then just says fuck it and throws every young male voter under the bus. Yeah, geez, maybe the young men didn't want to get on the eat shit young men and die party. She blames the media, even though the media did everything in its collective power to try to get her into office. She then blames she only had 107 days. She blames Trump immigration's rhetoric, or was he speaking the truth? That's why he bought it, or we bought it. She blames social media. She blames social media. Again, every celebrity endorsed Kamala Harris with a few exceptions. Every newscaster with some exceptions endorsed Kamala Harris. She blames Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not sure what the fuck she had to do with that. She blames a lack of debate. She then goes on and says that the debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz sunk her. Yeah, because Walz looked like a wimp. If only that was the worst thing that happened to Walz. She blames the $750 payments to the victims of Hurricane Helena. She blames 60 Minutes and the Trump lawsuit. By the way, the lawsuit was filed or settled after the election, sweetheart. She blames the LA Times, the Washington Post. She blames Jeff Bezos and Jeff Bezos' wife's tits. The transgender ad that was just a recording of what she said in an interview. She of course blames Elon Musk. It's almost at the end of the book. I'm shocked he wasn't on page 2. She repeats the lie that the election was close. It wasn't. She blames Joe Rogan's. She blames her own staff. And now I'll start reading some of the passages that I highlighted in the book. First one is on 139. And I quote, that a woman and a person of color could be at the podium accepting the nomination. Yeah, we've already had a woman accept the nomination and she lost. And we had a person of color accept the nomination and he won. It was called Barack Obama. You are not new. There was nothing unique and new about you. Oh, except you were both of them. Well, guess what? You were a shittier candidate than both of them. Next is on 143. Is it 143 or 144? Oh, it was on 144. Okay. In a statement that day, Donald Trump blamed the shooting on a sick and deranged monster. He did not mention the gun. Yes, Kamala, because a sick, deranged monster was the one that aimed the gun, loaded the gun, and shot the gun. I have yet to meet the gun that can load itself, point itself, and fire itself. A gun is an inanimate object. Guns do not kill people. People kill people. They just use guns to do it. Let's see here. 160 something or other. If I don't have it highlighted. All right, whatever. She says this about gun controls. If somebody breaks into my house, they'll get shot. Yes, that's generally the point of having a gun. But it's the truth. I've never made a big deal of being a gun owner, but I have reason to have a handgun. I store it securely, and I know how to use it. Yeah, good advice. But again, your gun, if it kills someone, will be by your hand, not on its own. And then she goes on to say a few paragraphs later, he should have been blaming the lax gun laws he championed, since the arrested man who had a criminal record had been flagged by the FBI as being illegally in possession of weapons, including a fully automatic machine gun. Despite numerous convictions, he obviously had no trouble obtaining a lethal weapon. Yeah, it's amazing. Criminals break the law. Heroin has been illegal forever and a day. People still get it. You can find it at pretty much any county fucking fair. And we'll move over to page 174. I hadn't believed it, but now I was experiencing it. And then a reality check. He's a con man. He's really good at it. That's every fucking politician. Bernie Sanders is a con man. Zoran Mamdani is a con man. Jason Carter, eulogizing his grandfather, observed that Jimmy Carter was the same person no matter who he was or where he was. And for me, that's the definition of integrity. Trump epitomized the exact opposite. Trump's pretty much the same dude anytime you meet him. At least from what I've heard. I've never met the man in public. I ready myself for a phone conversation with Mr. Hyde, but Dr. Jekyll picked up the call. Oh, because Trump was nice to you. Would you prefer he treated you like a complete bitch the entire time? And then on page 192, she says this. No sooner did we pass a law than the gun lobby filed suit and a conservative court overturned it. Yeah, because pretty much the way our Constitution works, any gun control is unconstitutional. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What part of that do you not understand, my dear? And boy howdy, I really hope you run in 28, because I'm going to have fun. Meanwhile, the lawless found ways to get around the scant regulations still in place. Yes, it's almost like criminals don't follow the law. They get their guns not at the local gun shop, sports store, or anything of the sort. They go to Bill in the back alley and buy guns from his windowless van. Again, heroin has been illegal forever and a day. You can still find it at any county fair. And then there's this on page 294. No, 194, excuse me. There's a bleak, tragic history in the commentary, or in this country, of demonizing immigrants. Jewish refugees who were denied entry when fleeing annihilation in Nazi Germany. America did not know about the concentration camps nor the genocide until after World War II, or when World War II was damn near done. The Chinese, the Italians, the Irish, who were hated, vilified, and slandered in almost the same terms as the right uses today against today's migrants. Well, yeah, the Chinese were, but again, they were not assimilating, and they were bringing a lot of bad stuff over at the time. Sure, were the Italians, sure. As for the Irish, they were largely brought over as indentured servants, and they were treated worse than slaves. So again, Kamala, if you're going to use these historical comparisons, you might actually want to read history. As for the Italians, once they started selling pizza, everything was cool. And as for today's migrants, we're not talking about people who legally came here. Almost all of these people came in a legal way, or a way that was legal at the time. We're talking about illegal migrants, my dear. There is a huge difference between the two. And finally, on page 195, she sums up this chapter with, I was the one who walked through tunnels that traffickers used to smuggle contraband and broken up a heroin trafficking ring connected with Mexican cartels. I'd done the hard work to bring criminals to justice and relief to the families of their victims, while you were leaving the border wider open than Megan Fox's cunt. Fucking brilliant. Or actually, in your case, I should probably say wider open than your goddamn mouth. Then we move on to 217. And she writes, we have so much to learn from indigenous people about how to treat this fragile earth. They were custodians of this land for thousands of years. What is it with the left and their absolute racist thought that every fucking Native American is in tune with nature? I happen to know some that don't know jack and shit about gardening. And no, they weren't stewarding the land for thousands of years. Mostly, they were hunting, gathering, and killing each other. That's what they were doing. I know you don't like that, but again, if you're going to use history, you might want to read it before you fucking use it. And then on page 240, she writes, I had known Reverend Sharpton for many years, working with him for criminal justice reform, praying with him at funerals for young black men killed in police shootings. The only reason Al Sharpton cares when any black person gets shot, it's when it's at the hands of white police officers. Because if you take up the number of black people or persons legitimately, questionably shot by police that were, let's say, legitimately unarmed and maybe or maybe not posing a threat, it comes to about maybe 4 for the entire country a year. Most of the time when the police shoot them, they're either charging at them, have a weapon of their own, and yes, are presenting a threat. You get about 4 that are questionable. And if it is just blatant murder, guess what? The cop goes to fucking jail. Al Sharpton doesn't give a crap about the thousands and thousands and thousands of young black men killed by other young black men And it ain't over any fucking civil rights issue. It's over drug territory. Hell, there are gangs in LA and Chicago that have been fighting so long, none of them remember why. Because the people that were at the start of the gang war are all dead or in prison. Al Sharpton doesn't give a fuck about any of them. You called Trump a con man. Guess what Al Sharpton is? And then on page 251, since Trump enabled the overthrow of Roe, I cannot remember exactly off the top of my head when Roe v. Wade was overturned, but I believe it was under Biden's presidency. And Trump didn't overturn it. The Supreme Court did, and they didn't even overturn it. They just sent it back to the states. But she continues, the consequences have gone beyond the denial of basic rights and the denial of care and the loss of health and life. Okay, first off, abortion is not a right. It's not in the Constitution. Second off, you and Joe Biden, let's say that Roe v. Wade was overturned during Trump's first term. You and Biden had 4 years, and I believe at one point had all 3 chambers, and you did nothing. For 4 years, you did nothing to enshrine it in federal law. Oh, is that because abortion is actually on the list of people's issues? Not that big of a fucking deal? It might have worked in the midterms, but it didn't work anywhere else. On page 266, she writes, I don't remember. Oh, Cardi B. She was talking about Cardi B. She was so genuine and passionate as she spoke about being underestimated, and as a woman, having to have twice the talent and work twice as hard. If you think Cardi B has talent, I have some lakefront property I'd love to sell you in Florida. Only to be questioned when she got to the top to what she'd done to get there. I know many women who can relate to that. Well, we know how you got to the top, and it was sucking dick. No shame, but that's how you got to the top. You sucked the right men's dicks. Anyway, 2 days before the election, she writes this at the end of whatever chapter this is. That Sunday, I still believed our campaign of joy, would triumph in 2 days. Well, it didn't. You lost the Electoral College. You lost all 7 swing states. You lost the popular vote, the House, the Senate. You didn't even win a single county. You did worse in every fucking county. New York was closer to flipping red than Texas was flipping blue, bitch. We only got a couple more of these. I ask you to bear with me here. This is the last one from the book proper. The other one that I highlighted is from the foreword. At the White House, President Trump watched the violence on Fox News and did nothing to stop it. This is a flat-out lie. First off, Trump said we go over there, but we have to be peaceful and patriotic. Meaning we peacefully walk there, we peacefully protest, patriotically protest, but peacefully protest. Trump also asked Nancy Pelosi for more National Guard. She denied him. Nancy Pelosi also didn't increase the DC police presence. And also, nobody on Trump's side had any weapons at all. That's why if this was an insurrection, it was the stupidest, lamest one in history. That's why I don't call it an insurrection. It was a bunch of idiots getting drunk and rowdy. And the only person killed was on our side. Yes, some police officers died a few days later, but not because of the riot. One of them died of a heart attack. They're like, well, the riot brought it on. Really? Anything could have brought it on. And finally, the last one is 295. A couple of here. The Authoritarian National Project 2025 is the blueprint for the Trump administration's second term. As of writing of its 316 objective, 114 have been fully realized. Okay, can you name 3 in your book? 64 more are already in progress. Again, this is a lie. Trump's agenda was not Project 2025, it was Agenda 47. Trump says he has a mandate for these things. He does not. Again, Electoral College, all 7 swing states. You did worse in every conceivable metric. He has the House. He has the Senate. I think Trump has a mandate. His victory was whisker thin. No. Electoral College majority, and it wasn't even close. Popular vote, and it wasn't close. All 7 swing states. And 2 of them were close. The rest, no. Decided by over 100,000 votes, at least. You lost, and you lost historically bad, Kamala. He beat me by 1.5 percentage points in one of the closest elections in a century. No, the closest election this century was Bush v. Gore. That came down to a couple thousand votes in one state. This was nowhere near close. A third of the electorate voted for me, and 1/3 probably stayed home, and everybody else, or 1/4 probably stayed home, and everyone else voted for Trump. But a third of the electorate stayed home. That means 2/3 of our country did not elect Donald Trump. More people voted for him than they voted for you. 2/3 of us did not choose this man or his agenda. Well, you should have tried to work hard and get the 1/3, according to your own words, the 1/3 that didn't show up. Trump had more voters than you. Trump had more electoral votes than you. Trump had the House, had the Senate. And all I've seen in the interim from when this book released to right now, today, January 24th, 2026, is the Democrats have continued to get weaker while the Republicans continue to get stronger. And I really wish that the Democrats would pull the fucking nose up on their goddamn plane crash. Because I don't want one-party rule in this country, because I know what this will lead into. Eventually, people like Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Ben Shapiro will be able to get into power or into positions of influence, and they led to the same ruination for the Republicans that they experienced in the 90s, because the Republicans got in bed because of Reagan and Bush. They got in bed with the Jerry Falwells and the Pat Buchanans and the Peter Popoffs and whoever else was popular on the televangelist side of things, and it led to the 90s being dominated by Democrats. The problem is the Democrats of the 90s sound a lot like what Trump sounds like today. They were sane back then. Now they are psychotic socialists. And anyone that is a center-left Democrat is repeatedly told to shut the fuck up. Yeah, Democrats, you need to repair yourself. You need to cast this far-left progressive wing out of your party. It is not the majority. If John Fetterman were to run, and it was against somebody like Michael Knowles, I'd vote for Fetterman in a second. But when you put up, but if you put up AOC, I'm sorry, I gotta hold my nose and vote for the theologian, the one who wants a theocracy. Now, I would have used Charlie Kirk as the example, but unfortunately, he was assassinated, so. But eventually, yeah, you're going to get somebody like that. And then it will be disaster. And again, the progressives, the socialists, they're taking over the Democrat Party, and it will mean the Democrats are in a permanent minority from now until the end of time. So, Anyway, that's my review of Kamala Harris's 107 days. If you'd like me to do more books written by leftist idiots and race grifters and whatnot, let me know in the comments section below. Until then, I will see you another time. Thank you for sitting with me during this long-ass video. And, yeah, until next time.